What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and welcome to episode 75 of All Hail the King. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the latest Spec Op character, Jessica Jones, in PvP. So we're going to have 3 different team-ups for her, and we'll see just how well she does. Now, for anyone who may have missed the podcast, I'll place a link in the description below. With that being said, let's get into the action. And our first team up is our True Grit team. This team could honestly be in the Team Spotlight series. It's also kind of funny because True Grit was a movie. A western, I believe. I never saw it, but I always meant to. It looked pretty good. But anyways, Jessica Jones of course gains True Grit from her level 1. That move of course is Room Brawl. The only thing is, I wish she had some more grit gaining mechanics. She just takes entirely too long. And partially because of that, and maybe it just needs another boost to its damage anyways, her level 9 attack really isn't that good. However, with our parking meter madness, we can exhaust, and corner if they weren't immune to it, but I figured we'd at least exhaust our agent for now. Besides that, she does have quite a few options and some decent debuffs on that multifunction. Plus she has flanked on her level 2, which I definitely enjoy. But one thing I've noticed in using her is she's never going to be the star of the team. She plays more of a role. In just about every team, she'll practically go unnoticed. And we will see more of that later, but as far as our agent, we're using the Golden 49er, which has True Grit, and it gives us Steely-Eyed, gains Grit every turn, and chance to gain Grit when an enemy attacks. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when I told you we were doing that True Grit theme. On my agent's turn, we begin with the Smothering Shadow, and then it's going to be the enemy agent's turn. So he first uses the Hailstorm. Since he was exhausted, that's the end of his turn as well. My level 15 Sandman's going to use Short Fuse, gaining Enraged, then his quick action Gathering Sand. Now of course, Sandman also operates by Grit, and he has the Elite E-ISO, and his Barricaded E-ISO. Basically, he's getting Sandstone, protects allies from single target attacks, and gains Grit when attacked. He also already has Shifting Sands, so he gains Grit every turn. Honestly, with a setup like this, he's a monster. I could even use his level 9 to really destroy the enemy team. Instead, we use his big hitting attack Hammering Blow, and it almost knocks out the agent. However, he gets back for more. You know what though, the Relentless Rapier has Brutal Strike, so he's going down. That's one surefire way to stop a Resurrect. Now with Null's turn, he's going to use You're Not Worthy, then a World Breaker, and it's back to Jessica Jones. Like I said, she's really just a role player. It takes way too long to gain Grit, and even when you do, that level 9 is going to let you down. Now of course, we can try to set it up to where she gains Grit faster. Her own flanked is going to take up 1 turn, so you're better off with someone else applying it, and then you can just spam that level 1. You could also try giving her extra turns, so say from Angel, or the Quantum Jumper or something like that. Oh, and by the way, for anyone wondering, I don't have any of the Sandy E-ISO. It only works on gun attacks anyways, but just saying. Now despite some of my best efforts, Sandman's basically going to do all the work. So far he's taken down 2 heroes, and well, we'll see if Jessica Jones can at least finish off Red Hulk. For her attack, I'm going to use a Stop Battleaxe, just to go ahead and see it. And these are still cool attacks, don't get me wrong. Well, let's see if it has enough. She comes up just short, but the Relentless Rapier is going to finish it off. And I guess technically it did finish off the agent as well, even though Sandman did an incredible attack. Well, like I said, she's just kind of there in the background. Let's see if she fares better with none other than Luke Cage. For this fight, I thought it'd be fitting to use the regular Luke Cage, but trust me, he's still a beast. Jessica Jones does get to kick things off, and I don't know why, but I always think about using that parking meter, I guess for the exhausted. But going back to kicking things off, I think instead we're going to use her stealthy level 2 on the amazing Spider-Girl. So it applies flanked and off balance, and I believe we added wide open with the pulverizing A-ISO, and stun with the surprising E-ISO. Hopefully we end up hurting Amazing Spider-Girl. That's pretty much our only goal. Okay, our attack gave Luke Cage an extra turn, thanks to the tag team E-ISO. First we use Bodyguard, and then we're going to go ahead with, well, these unarmed attacks aren't going to hurt their agent. So we almost have no choice but to go with this level 9, but at least it does have staggered. That means our unarmed attacks are going to hit their agent from now on. And by the way, Hugin's Eye was just changed, but I'm sure it's still going to be a pain to unarmed attacks. I guess ultimately that's something that remains to be seen, so we'll see what happens. As far as Luke Cage, he's getting a ton of attacks. And since we can hit the agent now, we'll begin with our level 1. Now I told you that default Luke Cage was pretty awesome, and you're going to see that throughout this fight. But just to briefly talk about the PvP changes. First of all, a 5-day tournament. I kind of like it, but I'm pretty busy with finals, so I don't even know if I can get enough matches in to get Adamantium. And I'm not sure if I care. I'm sure the regular season will be much longer, but who knows, maybe they will shorten them. Oh, and I believe Colleen Wing is going to be the next PvP reward hero. But other actual changes are with the armory and hero bonuses. First of all, I think you all know I hate change, so I'm definitely not a fan. But for people who maybe aren't opposed to change, let me know what you think about the reductions. Honestly though, I do think it was inevitable. I assumed it was coming, I just didn't know when. But no, I'm not a fan. And one thing I've noticed so far is, battles against agents with very low level heroes, not that great armory bonuses, well, those matches are taking a long time. Much longer than I expected. So my worry is, if you face another agent more on your level, say you both have high bonuses, does the match take like 10 minutes, because that would be dreadful. Once again, I haven't done a lot of battles yet, so I'm not sure. Let me know if your matches are taking a while. If you're wondering why I haven't played a lot, that's because I have a big final today and another one tomorrow. But after this week I'll be on break and I can't wait. So yeah, I'll be able to work on a lot more videos at that point. Now as far as the bugs and balance fixes, many of them were needed. Especially like with Black Knight. I really am hoping he's finally fixed. However, I have heard things like the signposts are broken. I haven't tried it out, but I hope it gets fixed. Oh, by the way, I'm extremely excited that Kurth has to hit her target with Stonebreaker for her runes to explode. That's at least one step in the right direction. But anyways, back to the match. Luke Cage is pretty much destroying it. And I actually was kind of happy that Iron Fist healed himself. That is because we're trying to use Barroom Brawl and actually do something with Jessica Jones. And hey, I suppose that's something, so good job, Jessica. Now, as for our third and final team, it's going to be Jessica and the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut of course boosts unarmed melee attacks. And on our agent, we're using the Dragon's Foot, plus a blaster safeguard suit. The reason we were using that is to apply staggered if we needed. The enemy team of course has Mighty Shroud, so that's going to change how we first play this match. And I'm assuming they have very high attack. I figured since we can't debuff the agent, we'll use a Barroom Brawl and at least make Jessica Jones tougher. Next, Hulk uses Short Fuse and he's going to attack us, let's just say a lot. He begins with his clap, then a punch. We get a pretty big hit on our counter, but the agent also hits us with a Relentless Rapier. Okay, this could be bad. They're starting to do some serious damage. And just like that, our agent's down to 8200 HP. Now we have to remove their shroud, so we'll use the Blackest Void on our agent's turn. They're seriously a train making tons of noise. But anyways, Thor is probably going to take someone down, so we're pretty worried about that. Well, instead he goes after Juggernaut. He does nice damage, but we get Absorb Energy, and our agent's still alive, so that's the best news. With Juggernaut, we'll start by using the Surge of Cyttorak, and that increases damage of unarmed attacks by 50%. Plus it adds Strengthen, so don't forget that. Then we'll use his one-shot ability, Mountain Crusher, on the enemy agent. This should be good. Unfortunately, we miss. They add insult to injury by using the Mandible. But Jessica Jones does get Private Eye, and we're going to absorb some energy. Next, the agent, being disoriented, hits his own Hulk for over 19,000 damage. So far he's our MVP. But it's time for Jessica Jones to once again use a Barroom Brawl. And this should get us another grit. Slowly but surely. It actually does a lot of damage and takes out the enemy agent though. So hey, Juggernaut's buffs definitely made her much more of a threat. Next, our agent's going to use Alluring Light, then the Light Fantastic, and this will keep us safe from Thor. So whatever he does, he can do his worst, we're just going to heal from it. And we get a big heal, plus a large counterattack. So with Juggernaut, we're going to pass, and we'll try Swatted. Though, of course it won't be that impressive. Honestly, it just needs more than true grit. In fact, there it is with a crit and deadly crits. 7k. Actually short of 7k. So yeah, she's underwhelming. Especially her level 9. Still though, I mean, we're happy we got her and she's another hero on the roster. Who knows, maybe in the future she'll get an alternate costume or an ability change. And then she'll be a must-have. Either way, that's going to be it for our first look at her in PvP. And I do want to thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Then until next time, good luck, and take care.